Hi there, and welcome back to another episode of Discussions of Exploration with your host, Sabrina Ben Salmi. Today I'm joined with a very special guest called Linda Attram, and we are going to be discussing women in business. Linda, please introduce yourself to the listeners and let them know a bit about what you do.
Thank you, Sabrina. Thank you so much for having me on your show. So, as you said, my name is Linda Attram, and I am the founder of Mothers in Business. I help mothers to take more control of their lives by being more in control of what they do in their business, but also in the home. Because for many mothers who run businesses, it is a struggle. You do have to juggle lots of different balls. And because of my own experience, I utilise that to help other women. So I am a mother of 3 beautiful children, 12, 14 and 19. And I've been in business for over 20 years. So my business is in property, real estate. I buy property, do them up, and I rent them out to people that can't afford to buy their own homes. And I absolutely love my property journey. But now, over the past year, I have founded Mothers in Business because I want to use my experience to help other mothers.
That is a beautiful, beautiful introduction. Interestingly, very honestly, I didn't realize you had that model around property, so we can delve into that. I love that you're doing that. It's a beautiful way of giving back, but also having the investment coming back to you. So Linda, I feel that you are going to be the answer to a lot of my listeners' problems, because I've been having lots of conversations in the background, and mothers, I think I just told you about that at the start, that mothers are literally screaming, like, how do I cope? You know, I've got very small children, or I've got teenagers, and, you know, before I had the added bonus where they'll go to school and I'll support them with homework, but now we're having to intertwine that throughout the entire day. What sort of support do you actually give to women at the business that you've launched?
Thank you. That's a great question. So what we have created is an online mastermind, because often as mothers, we put so much energy into helping others. We don't necessarily think about ourselves. We don't take the time to check in with ourselves. We check in and make sure the kids are okay, our partners are okay, that the house looks lovely, the washing's all done, etc. But we leave ourselves at the complete bottom of the pile, and we hardly ever get a look in. So I've created an online mastermind where mothers can actually come together and check in on each other first before they check in on their business and on their home. And for me, that's very important, because a lot of people have masterminds out there and they just go in there as the host and they teach things, which is not a mastermind. A mastermind, for me, is about mastering our own minds and utilising that to uplift each other, to empower each other, to inspire each other as well. So when women come to me and they say, you know, I can't cope, or, you know, this whole lockdown situation is too much for me, I invite them to our mastermind, which we hold on a fortnightly basis. And we explore all of those mum issues, the business issues, any sort of problems they're having, or any business creation ideas that they want to create out of this time that they've got because of the lockdown, because their business might have failed, or they might just be thinking, well, actually, I've lost my job. What's my next option? What can I do?
I couldn't agree with you more. You know, I love the way you opened the answers to that question, and perfect answer, thank you, is that you talked about women being everything to everyone else, but who are they to themselves? Like, I know you shared so much content there, but that really rang true for me, because I remember back in 2011, it was when someone said to me, you know, what's your favourite this? And what's your husband's favourite this? Or what's the kid's favourite that? And I was like babbling on and saying, yeah, we've got to do shopping. And I had all their things on their shopping list. And I said, oh, when you go shopping, what do you buy for them? And again, I was babbling on. And then they said to me, very simple question, Sabrina, what do you like? And I remember going, they go, you okay? And I didn't know. It wasn't the case of I was pretending. It was a realization for me, is that I had no idea what my favorite food was. I had no idea what my favorite thing to do was, because up until that point, my life was predominantly what everyone else needed, that I didn't have a clue what that is. So listeners, I really urge you to listen out to what Linda's going to be sharing with you, but also towards the end, Linda will share some contact details so you can get in touch, because I think that's the key difference. Because once you start to reinsert yourself into your life and you've got people that you can check in with, I love that you added that, is that it's not just about business, because again, it's like, where am I? My business is that, and I'm doing this, and I'm hitting these targets, but I'm not okay. Who's going to really check in and say, I didn't have a good day today, the kids, or you might just need to talk. It doesn't mean it's a bad thing to express. Sometimes we beat ourselves up for feeling things, but once you share it with a friend, like, as you know, having conversations, it can expand into anything. Linda, what would you say around that? Like, the difference that your platform makes to your members? It's just breathtaking, really.
Thank you. So what I would say to that is that, throughout motherhood, and I experienced this myself when my kids were much younger, I felt like I was losing my identity because I was constantly being called mum, 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 mum. And I loved being a mum. But when I was constantly hearing it, it was like, when you go to the dentist and they're drilling in your teeth, it was like that. And I felt really guilty because I thought, I've been blessed to be a mother. I shouldn't really be having these types of thoughts. And I couldn't hear any other mothers around me saying that, similar types of things. So I thought it was just me. I thought about when my mum was alive, she never used to complain about those types of things either. And it wasn't until I did some self-development for myself and I realized that there are lots of women out there, lots of mothers out there that feel like they've lost their identity. But because society brings you into this thing of motherhood, and if you then dare to have a business at the same time, you're being selfish because you need to put your whole self into being a mother, which, clearly your kids are your priority. But if you don't look after yourself, how are you expected to look after others? And so women on my platform get the opportunity to not necessarily reinvent themselves, but to remember that they are actually an individual first before they are a mother, and that they need to come back to that, because that is, before you were a mother, you were your individual self. And if you lose your identity, what message are you giving to your children? What message are you giving to your daughters when they, if they choose to, have a family? Are they then going to, forget about their identity because they're following that cycle? And if you have a son, what's his expectations going to be of his partner or his wife when she has a baby, that she then forgets about herself and then just gets cocooned into this motherhood cycle, and then it continues? No. So in my platform, that's one of my key things, because of my own experience, is that I want mothers to be able to realize that it's okay not to feel okay. It's okay to feel that your identity has been stripped away, because it does feel like that in motherhood with everything that you do. But also it's important to come back to yourself. As hard as it may be, just keep working at it, because it is important, because it's not only important for you, but it's also important for your children and the legacy that you leave for them in terms of what a mother is and what a mother can be. And society dictate what a mother should be for you.
Wow. See, I'm in awe. It's really even hard to ask you questions, because everything you're saying, it's like, it's just got me fired up inside. And listeners and viewers, like, take notes and just acceptance. I love everything that you're echoing. You really understand the people that you're serving, because exactly what you're saying is like myself and so many mothers I've met, is that guilt around, I'm at home and I've got a dream and I know I want to bring this dream, but it's like, I'm being told that I'm a bad mum because I want to share my mission, or I'm being told that I know that I'm a mother and I love you and you are my world, but I also want to do this, and this is the thing that brings me joy. It's not in replace of you. It's just something I like to do. And it's like, being a mum is one aspect of me, but there's a side of me that I haven't really brought into this world. I love that, because in all honesty, I've never met a platform like that. I've never met a platform, because people do frown upon that. I've been through the same essence of, I mean, you're going to go into a job, like, you're going to wait for such a long period of time. So my children's father is actually Tunisian, of a Muslim heritage. So you can imagine, it's very much housewife. When the kids are there, you stay there until the long time. So we had that challenge of, well, I'm losing myself. And I'm telling you, it felt like a piece of me had died, because I love my kids as much as anything, as you know. But at the same time, it was like I needed to go out. I needed to be me. But also, because I didn't know who I was, it was that fear of, I don't even know who I am anymore. I don't even know who I am. And women, we're talking about children that are small. What about if you've spent your entire life shrinking your dreams, and then they become adults and move on into their life and they're happy and they're healthy? And then you think, what is life after having kids? Who am I? Because by that time, I'm sure you would forget who you are.
Yes.
And this is why your platform is so needed. I'm like in awe of the clarity of purpose and serving, because it is just that. How are you, Linda, today? How are you coping? Like, what are the challenges? Because the truth is, you are your business. So if you're not okay, you're not feeling supported, how are you going to thrive? And that kind of brings me to the next dynamics is, how did you manage to learn to just verbalize that? Because for some people it's easier than others, and it's tricky for someone to say, I haven't spoken for so long, but by the way, I don't really like what you're doing, and by the way, I've got a voice, or by the way, I know how to do that. That's the hardest thing in it ever. So you've got such courage to actually start verbalizing that. Well done.
Thank you. And so I think it comes back to a bit about my story in my younger self, where I had a lot of lack of confidence. And so I spent a lot of my younger years in school trying to fit in, trying to say the right things, trying to do the right things, because I wanted to be with the cool crowd and whatever. And, that had its consequences, because I ended up leaving school without any English or maths qualifications, because I wanted to follow the in crowd instead of pursuing my education. So I was fortunate to, when I left school, to then, go into environments where I could re-educate myself, but also build on my confidence and be around people that were more supportive of me and my growth, as opposed to people that just wanted me to be part of their gang or their crew or whatever. And so when I, through my early 20s, and when my confidence was growing, I started dating, having a great job, all the rest of it. That was all fine. Then when I got married and I had my children very early in the marriage, I felt very quickly that my confidence started to go back to my younger self. So as well as dealing with being a mum, and also being in business, because I was running the business at the same time as working in the corporate world, I also was very frustrated and angry with myself, because I felt like I'd allowed myself to go back into that lack of confidence zone, but didn't realise at the time that it was because I was also felt like I was losing my identity as being a mother. So it is very challenging, but it's about surrounding yourself with people that are going to uplift you, and that can be very difficult. It can be very tricky if you don't have a wide circle around you, or you don't have a choice around you, because sometimes you accept who's around you because you think that's the right thing to do, and if you don't accept that circle, you're going to be on your own, you're going to be ousted. But sometimes in life you just have to step out of your comfort zone and say, actually, I don't want to go down that path. I want to follow a different path, and create your own circles, create your own group of people that are going to uplift you and inspire you. And for me, when I was at college, I think it was, there was this one particular teacher that took an interest in me in terms of my education that I didn't get at school, because at school I felt like I wasn't worthy of that kind of attention, and I didn't feel that I was worthy of doing really well at school. And I actually went to the school where Philip Lawrence, I don't know if you recall, the head teacher who got murdered. Oh, wow. outside of the school. He was the head teacher, and there was a gang fight, and he went to break up the fight, and he got stabbed. And that's the school that I went to. So it was expected that the students that went to that school they weren't necessarily going to come out with any good grades or a good job or any career or whatever. And I didn't want to be I didn't want to be like that. I didn't want to be cocooned into that group. So I needed to do something different, step out of my comfort zone, find different circles in order to have the life that I've created that I now deserve, you know, and I'm passing that on to my children.
I love that. I love the way you articulated all of that. I love that it doesn't matter where you started off, it's what really you chose, what you had to say no to in order to say yes to the other aspects. But also in choosing yourself and choosing your vision, you were able to navigate into a space that was more for you, that was more supportive. And this is what I love about what your platform brings. So the whole togetherness is that your platform is, yes, they're checking in, but if you're a mother or a father that needs that support system, sorry, it's for mothers, sorry, but if you're a mother primarily that needs that support system, because I love what you're saying, it's easier said than done sometimes. I think when people communicate, you've done it in such an authentic way, is that it's not always easy. I'm glad you highlighted this, because normally people say, oh yeah, you do this, you do that. Well, actually, if I don't know no one, it's like, how do I start? And Linda has created for you listeners that there's a place for you to start. There's a mastermind for you to start, so you can be around like-minded people, so you can be surrounded by those people that are going to champion you, support you, and encourage you. And to be honest, I think that's priceless. I think it's so priceless to have that level of support when you kind of go home and you're wiltering away, and you kind of go home and think, well, is it even worth it? To know that you've got a call coming up with the mothers where you can share your stories and integrate that. I think it's beautiful what you've created. I really think it is. And what would you say is the kind of difference that made a difference for you with regards to your network and helping you transition along the way?
I think it's been my authenticity that's helped me to transition, because, you know, I, as well as obviously being an adult now and going through lots of life experiences, I have two coaches, and one of them is an authentic leader coach. And so she has helped me to just talk from my heart, not say what I think people out there want me to say, not do what people out there want me to do what I feel is coming straight from my heart. Because, you know, when you go through that period of lack of confidence, lack of self-identity, you try and make everything perfect. You try and make everything fit into what everyone else wants it to look like or to sound like. And I think you mentioned earlier that, you know, your business is you. So, you know, if you're not being authentic, people need to buy into you first before they buy into your business. And so for me, creating that platform, my original idea was just to provide a safe space for people, for mothers, I should say, to come. They can just watch, they can just observe. They don't need to comment, they don't need to like, they don't need to love, they don't need to do anything. They just need to watch, and they can just pick up on posts, whether they be inspirational posts or any sort of videos that I pull out there, but just watch and observe. And for me, that's more important than getting lots of likes, because I know that they're getting the message. And it may take some mothers, you know, a huge amount of time before they feel confident to actually put a comment in the box. But for me, knowing that they're watching and that they can refer to that information at any point in time, then that's great for me. Because I also do blogging as well. I do blogging on my website, so they can have that information. And so I know for myself, as when I was a younger mother, it would have taken a lot for me to sort of go out there on social media and to comment, you know, saying, oh, I'm not having a great day today, or I'm struggling with this, I'm struggling with that. But if the resource is there in a safe platform that they can access, great. If they feel confident that they want to come along to our online masterminding groups, fantastic. We keep the numbers small, maximum 6, you know, 5 to 6 people, so that they can share confidently and not feel that they're part of this large, huge 200, you know, member group, that they're scared to share anything, because they're not going to get anything out of it. And until mothers feel that they're confident enough to go out there, step out their comfort zone, I'm providing that safe space for them as that stepping stone to greater things, that they will make their choice as to how they want to move forward.
absolutely love what you've created, and it's with such an essence. Like, you and I have been championing each other back and forth, and the more you speaking about the authenticity and how you're working on that with a coach, I can start looking back going, yeah, she's like, we've had conversations about some posts that I've put out recently, and what I really love is that you're causing our listeners and our viewers to really start going like, actually, it's your truth that's going to set you free. Because the minute you choose to own your truth, the minute you step into your authenticity, that's when the journey really begins, because there is no journey if you're not there, right? And what I also love is that there's all this hype about, how many likes and how many loves and how many comments, but because you've walked the journey, you understand it's in just the observation. Just someone being in that space and knowing that they're fully supported, seeing the tips. Realistically, when mothers are in the room, they don't have to always verbalize. They just know that they're okay because they know that they're in a safe space. They know they're okay because chances are someone else has already asked the question that they had weighing on their mind for so long. And I love the beauty of you understanding your clients so well that it's not about the large groups, because that doesn't serve the issue that they have. See, in order for me to feel like trust that I can step into a circle, I'm definitely not going to go to a place where swarming with people and they're kind of, they don't understand it. It's overwhelming because you've gone from one extreme to the other. And I love that you understand your client base so deeply that you've seamlessly connected support systems to help them on that journey. Why? Because you knew what it felt like, but you've also been open to embodying that, because it's one thing to go through it. Sometimes we lose it in translation, but you've gone, what are the key factors? This isn't about just me doing it for doing sake. If I want to serve this client group, these are the best ways of doing it. And listeners, I cannot echo enough that reach out to Linda, connect. And during these times, we all have ups and downs in our lives, right? But it's for us to know that no matter what's going on, you've got somewhere to call home. And from the description that Linda's given, she's created that lovely safe space. If you want to just pass by and look, do that. If you want to interconnect, do that. It doesn't matter how you show up. And I really love that, because you're just saying, whoever you are, it's okay just the way you are. We're not expecting you to be this, say this, and have this. I love that. I really, really thank you for that. And how does this make you feel, knowing that you can now gift a woman reconnection with herself? That is phenomenal.
It fills my heart with complete joy. And if I can just share an example with you, we had an event just before lockdown. It was a live event, and again, it was a small intimate group, and we were there for the whole weekend. So we shared with the ladies, about their self-identity, about their self-worth, and we were able to help them to really come to terms with the fact that it's fine to be a mum as well as a businesswoman. And we went through a variety of various exercises with them, and the connection that I had with them, because it was such a small group, was just phenomenal. And I got quite emotional at the end, because it was like, they were my babies. But, it was just beautiful to see the transition of mothers over a period of a weekend. And these mothers did whatever it took to be there for the whole weekend. And what was beautiful about it was that a lot of them didn't go home. They made sure that they made a whole weekend of it, and stayed in local hotels, and some of them stayed in our serviced apartments and things like that. But just going back to your question, I get so much joy from when I hear people's lives change, mothers in particular, when their lives change, and when they talk with so much confidence, and where they are now as a result of being part of our community. And for me, I'm doing this, Mothers in Business, because it's my turn to give back. I'm not doing it because I need to make an income out of it. It's not an income generator business for me. It's, my property business is my income generator, but I don't need to do this, but I'm doing it because I want to, and because I love it, and I love giving back, and I love helping mothers.
Oh, that oozes. It literally oozes from you. And, you know, the energy that you give off, the energy that you exude when you say that is captivating. And it must be such a beacon of light for women to come into that space, because it's one thing doing something to earn money, but when you're transforming lives at that level and paying it forward, and you're there because you choose to, that's invigorating. You know what I really loved about what you touched on is that they got to stay there with you. I think that is so golden. You know, listeners and viewers, ask yourself, when was the last time you had a break from home? Because for me, when I heard that, it took me back. You know, I'm trying to stay focused, like I'm in awe, but you know, as you're speaking, I'm really just being present with it, because what you create is a platform that's really true to my heart and for mothers, because it was years and years in my marriage that, you know, I had really, I mean, we went through, I've had lots of issues in my marriage, but what I realized is that I never actually went away from home. I never went anywhere on my own. So hearing that these mothers went away for a weekend, that's like, oh, like looking around thinking, I don't have to do anything. Like, because I remember I went away once, it was after years, like it's so beautiful hearing that, is that you go, we went down for dinner and I'm sort of thinking, oh, well, do I need to do dishes? You know, you kind of like, what do I do? Can I help you? And it's because you're so used to doing, it's like, oh, it's okay, we'll get it for you. Like, oh, okay, I'll get used to this kind of thing. But it's sort of because you're not used to it. So giving them that safe space, giving them that release, you're not just saying, be you and I'm creating a space for you, you're actually being that because you are. And you know what I love the most, and I'm sure you know where I'm going to go with this, is that your children. I see the videos, I watch you guys, and I'm invigorated because when I see your children registering your, I can't even speak, I'm smiling so much. It's the proof is in the pudding. Makes sense? Is that you're saying to mothers, okay, mothers in business, I understand that you're a mother, but without speaking a word, they come and see your children without saying a word. See, I saw your daughter as well presenting beside you, and she took them through the breathing. Like, I get so excited about things like that. You know, if you don't know me, you'll understand. Like Linda understands why, because that's my heart. It's that the business working with people, transforming their lives, but the subconscious message of, I've managed to make it work as a family. Like, how does that feel for you? Because like when I see it, I just get so invigorated. I'm like, yes. And when we met each other at a party, it was like, yeah, I champion you because of that, because that's so beautiful the way you bring all that together. Like, how does it feel?
It feels absolutely amazing. You know, I had my two youngest on the registration desk, and they had their mother's helper t-shirts. It was just fabulous. And they, you know, initially when I first started doing the events, I was thinking, you know, I want them to be involved, but I want them to be involved because they, you know, they can be along and be part of the journey, but I don't want them to come along and feel that they're there because mum says you've got to come along type thing. And it was just so nice that they just got on with it. They loved it. You know, and at our last event, Destiny was our DJ. You know, we didn't have to hire any person to, you know, special media person or whatever. She did all of the you know, the music breaks and things like that. And the kids love being part of the journey. And I think that's a lot of women or a lot of mothers perhaps don't realise that. You know, you asked me a question earlier about, you know, about the children. But what I would say is, bring your children along with you in the journey, and you'll be so surprised at how in awe they are of you, but also how interested they are, you know, because my 12-year-old, he's a boy, and you might think, well, what's he interested about in mothers in business? You know, and after we did our first event last year, and I said to them, we're going to do another one this year, this was in March. Oh, are we coming? You know, great, you know, and they love, you know, doing the raffle tickets or whatever it is that they, you know, whatever they do. And with my eldest daughter, you know, she has aspirations of being a performer, and so giving her the opportunity to be on stage, present, she's very much into stillness, into yoga. She's very focused, and she does her whole gratitude process in the morning. For her to be able to share that with other mothers, you know, just fills my heart with joy. And when I feedback from the mothers at the event that say, you know, they're taking something away from her you know, her session to share with their children because they were so inspired, you know, for me, that's job done. You know, if I don't do anything else, it's, you know, that's my job done.
Actually beautiful. I really, like, listeners, I want you to really tap into what Linda's saying, is that her children are asking to be involved. You know, how often do your children ask to be involved in what you're doing? You know, happily like bounce up and say, well, I'm going to go and help mum at her event. But again, they're learning key life skills in a fun way. You know, like you're saying, you're not dragging them along and they have to. They want to be there. They know that they can see the magic of their mother. But then again, as siblings, they're all firing off. And I'm guessing they're learning different aspects of them as a result of being there and serving these mothers. Oh, it's just breathtaking when I think about it, because when I see the pictures and the footage, it's just mind-blowing. But seeing a mother side by side with her children is something that's very near and dear to my heart. But I think especially with your brand, Mothers in Business. So it's about, like, actually, if you have a business, it doesn't mean that you have to shun your children away. How can you get them involved? And you're an embodiment of that in your brand. You are involving them. Not only are you involving them, they're enjoying being a part of the magic.
Yes, and that's the same with our property business as well. You know, from the very young age, I used to, before they started school, I'd take them on viewings with me. And when we were, you know, at the time when we couldn't afford cleaners and things like that, we'd have them at our properties with us. We'd be there cleaning away. I'd feel like the worst mum in the world, because they'd be sitting on a mat in the middle of the floor, and we'd be, you know, cleaning away these properties as opposed to going to the park on a lovely day like today. But it's all part of that mother's guilt that you feel. But so long as you know what your end result is, you've got your goals, and you have to make sacrifices in business. You know, it's not all plain sailing. But, you know, would I have done it any differently? No. You know, they learned lots of life skills. Even now, my 14-year-old, she still helps with any filing that I've got to do. But the difference is now, you know, they want a bit of extra pocket money.
That will come in. Oh, I love that. I love
negotiating rates and stuff like that. But you know, it's all good. It's all good fun and good learning experience for them.
So listeners, if you're listening to what Linda's saying, you know, the engagement, so although this is a platform for mothers in business, can you see the benefits that you can learn as a family holistically about getting the children involved, you know, filing and negotiating what the rates are. I love that. But you know what I love about you, Linda, is the realness, because you keep mentioning that this thread of guilt. I think mothers not only do it to themselves, but society does it to us. It's like, well, actually, they could be in the park, but we've got to do this, and I'm doing this, and I'm not doing that. And the truth is, we don't have a user manual. It all starts with our own intention, and everyone's family dynamics is different. So I really love that not only have you created this beautiful, safe space for mothers to grow in business and in their lives, but you are an embodiment of the product that you're bringing to the table. You say, well, actually, it's possible, and I can hold your hand. I'm not saying it was easy. I know that it's challenging, and you know, I'm thinking these things in my head, and I know you don't normally verbalize it, but this is how I felt. So even if they don't tell you, yeah, that's me, isn't it beautiful for them to go, wow, like, just breathe and say, I used to feel like that, and I would beat myself up about it, and I can't believe she's just said it. And I love that about you, because you realize that mums are not always going to say, yeah, that's me. They're not always going to want to hang their dirty clothes out in public, like, yeah, I do that, yeah. But it's the verbalizational that allows them to start freeing up that energy, to start healing those wounds, to start putting away the guilt and saying, actually, let me just be me, because I'm exhausted with going through life feeling that I'm always getting it wrong and I'm always letting someone down. Well, actually, I'm doing my best, and that's good enough. And I've got a support network, which Linda's put together, that I can go to, and they accept me for being me. They don't expect me I've got a comment. They don't expect me I've got to say something. Just show up and take from it what you can. And I think that is absolutely noble of you to do that, Linda. I think it's so beautiful, because us mothers, you know, the old school run kind of dynamics of mothers, we can take each other apart without even realizing this whole, oh, my kid can do this, I'm doing that, and this is so easy. Well, actually, what if it's not easy for you, listener? What if it's been the hardest thing ever? I'm guessing that this will be a platform that can really help you take you and your ideas to the next level, or you and your business if you're already in business. So Linda, I really want to thank you. I thank you firstly for spending this time with me and just having a chat, but I thank you for doing the work that you had to do in order to hold other people, because the truth is you couldn't bring this to the forefront if you wasn't able to first do the inner work, because you wouldn't understand, you wouldn't be connective, you wouldn't be able to just have that authenticity of connection, because you would just be like, well, not sure how that's going to feel. You've created such a beautiful space for all these other mothers to blossom and to share and to be present and to learn. And I just thank you. You're the same on camera as you are off. You know, you're always sending me messages and encouraging me and celebrating, and we love each other's kids. And I love that about you. And listener, the reason why I'm saying this, because I want you to get to grips with the authenticity. It's not a case of Linda saying, oh, I want to be on here and showcase what I'm doing. It's service, remember. She doesn't do this because she has to get paid for it. She does this aspect because she wants to. Linda has another machine that works in the background that generates the lifestyle that her and her family deserve. But she understands what it is to be a mother. She understands what it's like to beat yourself up. Sometimes it's not what's going on the outside, it's what's going on in our head. It's how we talk to ourselves. And to have a platform like yours, Linda, I wish that many years ago that I had known you and been a part of this. But this is many years ago. I think it was just before you set this up. But it's exactly what's needed. I cannot emphasize enough, because I know my life would have been a lot different many years ago, because I was just so scared and beaten down, guilty, tired, exhausted, and just pushing, but going nowhere, because I didn't know who I was.
Yes. Yeah, fantastic. Thank
beautiful.
You.
So Linda, I wonder if you'd like to share a final message with our listeners that they can serenade and saturate their selves with as they go forward with you on the journey.
Oh, thank you. So the message that I'd like to leave with your listeners is to just be yourself. You know, we only have one life to live, so live it to the full. And whatever you do, just remember that you always have, if you're a parent, you always lie. Our kids don't necessarily always do as they're told. They do as they see. So whatever life and legacy you want to leave for your children, make sure that whatever you are doing in your life reflects what you would love for your children to do.
Wow. Do you know, thank you so much for that heartfelt message. Thank you so much. I'm not going to respond to any element. I want you as a listener to really just absorb what the message that Linda's just departed with you. I think it's amazing. But people that want to reach out to you, where's the best place to connect with you? Websites, social media? Could you give us some information, please?
Sure. So I'm available on, we've got our own website, and that's www.mothersinbusiness.co.uk. So that's nice and easy. And I'm also available on social media under my name, Linda Attram, on LinkedIn and also on Facebook. But we do also have our community group in Facebook, and that's called Inspiring Mothers in Business. And you can also find us on Instagram as well under Inspiring Mothers in Business.
Beautiful. Listeners, viewers, get in touch. You know, if you're seeking a safe space for you to share, please get in touch. Something just came to me, if you permit me to share. Do you have a favourite quote that you like, that kind of you live by?
A favourite quote is one that I actually created myself, and it's in this book that I co-authored. If you bear with me just to share that with you. And it's really about my experience with my own mother. Okay, so it's...
Sorry to interrupt you. Do you mind holding the book up so we can see the book? Is that all right?
Can you see it in the light? Yeah, there you go.
Fantastic.
So it's called The Mind of the Female Entrepreneurs, How to Act and Succeed in Business. And this is a book that I co-authored. So my story is in this book, and this book is available on Amazon. Okay. So the quote is, "There is nothing deeper than a mother's love. There is nothing more rewarding than seeing your children go further than you would ever have dreamt possible, thanks to your legacy, the life tools you shared with them to be more and to achieve more."
Wow. That, what you've just shared with the listeners, for me, just ties this up beautifully. That is a message that resonates with me and listeners. I really hope that you allow all of the golden nuggets that Linda has shared to actually go in. And for those of you that desire to continue the journey with Linda, get in touch. We will definitely put some information in the description, so you've got that. But thank you so much. I will send me a link for the book so I can put that in the description as well. I'm so glad. I can't believe you kept it there on the table and didn't share it with us. I'm so glad. I'm so glad that you got to share that. Oh, you were captivating, and I really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much, Linda. Thank you very much for agreeing to spend some time in the space and share your message with the world.
It's been beautiful to spend this time with you this afternoon. Thank you so much.
Thank you.